The chamber was silent. It was not the silence of peace. It was a silence before something terrible. Far above Earth, beyond the stars, the Galactic Council gathered. Hundreds of alien races sat in a massive circular hall. Their forms were strange, some tall and thin, some made of light, others covered in armor or scales. They had seen countless civilizations rise and fall. Today, they were discussing one small blue planet, Earth. To most of them, it was nothing special. A young world, a weak species. Humans were not advanced enough, not strong enough, not important enough. But still, they were different. A tall alien with glowing eyes stood from a seat. He was one of the oldest members of the council. Humans are unpredictable, he said in a cold voice. They grow too fast. They fight too much. They do not know their place. Murmurs spread across the chamber. Another alien, covered in dark metal plates, spoke next. We have watched them for centuries. They build weapons. They explore space. Soon, they will become a problem. A third voice joined. Then we should end it now, before it is too late. The decision was forming. The Galactic Council did not fear humans, but they did not trust them either. And in this galaxy, that was enough. At the center of the chamber, a bright light appeared. It was a communication portal. Bring in a human representative. A voice commanded. The light grew stronger, and then a figure appeared. A single human. He stood alone in front of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. His name was Commander Elias Ward. He wore a simple dark uniform. No armor. No weapons. Just calm eyes and a straight posture. He looked around the chamber, but his face did not show fear. That surprised many. Human, the glowing alien said, you stand before the Galactic Council. Do you understand where you are? Elias nodded slowly. Yes. You represent your entire species. Another voice added, choose your words carefully. There was a pause. Then the main speaker stood tall. The council has reached a decision, he said. Earth will submit to our authority. Your species will kneel. You will follow our laws. You will not expand beyond your system without permission. The chamber became quiet again. Every alien watched the human. This was the moment. Elias did not speak immediately. He took a slow breath. Then he asked calmly, and if we refuse? The question spread like a shockwave. Some aliens laughed. Others looked angry. You do not refuse the council, the armored alien said sharply. But Elias did not move. He stood still, waiting. The glowing alien leaned forward slightly. His voice became colder. If you refuse, your planet will be removed. A simple sentence. A deadly meaning. Earth would be destroyed. Billions of lives gone. For a moment, it seemed like time stopped. Every eye in the chamber was fixed on the human. They expected fear. They expected begging. They expected surrender. But Elias did something else. He smiled. It was not a big smile, just a small one, but it changed everything. Then I will give you our answer, he said quietly. The chamber leaned in. Elias raised his head. Humans do not kneel. Silence. Deep, heavy, unbelievable silence. For a second, no one moved. Then the chamber exploded with noise. Insolence. This is madness. Destroy them. Voices shouted from every direction. The council was not used to this. No species had ever spoken to them like this. The glowing alien slammed his staff into the ground. A loud sound echoed across the chamber. Silence. The noise slowly faded. His glowing eyes locked onto Elias. You stand here alone, he said slowly. You face the entire galaxy. And still you refuse? Elias did not look away. Yes. Do you understand what will happen to your world? Yes. And still you choose defiance? Elias took one step forward. Not defiance, he said. Freedom. That word hit harder than any weapon. Some aliens looked confused. Others looked angry. Freedom was not a common idea in the galaxy. Most species followed orders. They obeyed power. But humans were different. The armored alien stepped forward. Enough, he growled. This species is dangerous. They will never submit. We must act now. Many voices agreed. Yes. Destroy Earth. End this before it spreads. The council was reaching its final decision. The glowing alien raised his hand. Very well, he said. Earth has chosen its path. He looked directly at Elias. You had a chance. You could have survived. But now, your world will burn. Elias remained calm. You are making a mistake, he said quietly. A low laugh came from one side of the chamber. A mistake, one alien said. You are a single world. We are the galaxy. Elias turned his head slightly. Maybe, he said, but you don't understand us. The glowing alien narrowed his eyes, then explained. Elias took a deep breath. We are not the strongest, he said. We are not the oldest. We are not the most advanced. He paused. But we survive. The chamber listened. When we fall, we stand again. When we lose, we fight again. When we are pushed, we push back harder. A few aliens shifted in their seats. Something about his voice felt different. You see weakness, Elias continued. But what you are really seeing is patience. The room became quieter. And now, he said softly, you have run out of it. For the first time, a small doubt appeared in the chamber, but it was quickly crushed. Enough of this, the armored alien snapped. We will erase them. The glowing alien lifted his staff again. Prepare the fleets, he ordered. Earth will be destroyed. The decision was final. Elias closed his eyes for a moment. Then he opened them again. Then there is nothing more to say, he said. The light around him began to fade. The connection was ending. But just before he disappeared, he spoke one last time. We did not start this. A pause. But we will finish it. And then he was gone. The chamber remained silent. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the orders began. Mobilize the fleets. Set course for the Sol system. Prepare orbital weapons. Across the galaxy, massive warships came to life. Engines burned with energy. Weapons powered up. A war was beginning. And on Earth, people did not panic. They did not scream. They did not run. Instead, they prepared. Deep under the oceans, hidden bases activated. In the dark side of the moon, silent structures came online. Satellites shifted position. Weapon systems unlocked. Ships that no alien had ever seen. Powered up. Humanity had been waiting. For a long time. They knew this day might come. And now, it was here. In a quiet command room on Earth, a screen lit up. The signal from Elias had returned. A woman stood in front of the screen. She was a leader of Earth's Defense Command. Report, she said. Elias's face appeared. They refused, he said simply. She nodded. No surprise. There was no fear in her eyes. Only focus. Then we begin, she said. Elias gave a small nod. Yes. The screen went dark. The room became silent. Then the woman turned to her team. Send the signal, she ordered. A single message was transmitted across Earth. Simple, clear, powerful. Prepare for contact. Above the planet, the stars seemed calm. But far away, the alien fleets were already moving. They believed this would be easy. They believed Earth would fall quickly. They believed humans would break. They were wrong. And soon, they would learn the truth. Space was quiet. Too quiet. Far beyond Earth. Near the edge of the solar system, darkness covered everything. No sound. No movement. Just endless black. And then, they arrived. Massive alien warships dropped out of hyperspace one by one. First 10, then hundreds, then thousands. The Galactic Council fleet had come. Their ships were huge. Some were shaped like sharp blades. Others looked like giant floating cities. Their surfaces glowed with strange energy. Weapons lined their sides, ready to fire. At the center of the fleet was the command ship. Inside, the armored alien commander stood tall. His name was Varkon. Cold, proud, dangerous. He looked at the holographic display in front of him. A small blue planet appeared. Earth. So this is it, he said. A smaller alien officer beside him nodded. Yes, Commander. The human homeworld. Varkon studied it for a moment. It looks weak. The officer gave a slight laugh. Our scans show limited defenses. Primitive weapons. They cannot stop us. Varkin's eyes narrowed. Good, he said. Then this will be quick. He turned to the rest of the command crew. Prepare the first strike. Orders spread across the fleet. Weapons powered up. Energy cannons began to glow. Missile systems locked onto targets. Thousands of ships aimed at Earth. Back on the planet, things were not normal. The skies looked calm. Cities were quiet. But deep below the surface, something was moving. Hidden bases were active. Screens flashed with data. People worked fast, but calmly. They were ready. In the main command center, the same woman from before stood, watching a large display. Her name was General Arya Kane. Strong, focused, unshaken. Status? She asked. An officer replied, Enemy fleet has entered the outer system. Estimated arrival in orbit, 2 hours. Arya nodded slowly. Good. No fear. No panic. Just control. Phase 1, she said. The room moved into action. Deep in space, far from Earth, something strange happened. Asteroids began to move. At first, it was slow, almost unnoticeable. But then, they changed direction. Dozens and hundreds and thousands of space rocks shifted their paths. They were not random anymore. They were controlled. Back on Varkin's command ship, alarms suddenly started flashing. Commander, an officer shouted. We are detecting movement in the asteroid belt. Varkan frowned. Natural? The officer shook his head. No, they're changing direction. Directly toward us. Varkin's expression hardened. That is impossible. But it wasn't. The asteroids were accelerating. Fast. Very fast. Destroy them, Varkan ordered. Alien ships fired. Bright beams of energy shot into space. Some asteroids exploded into dust. But not all. Too many. And they were moving too fast. Then something unexpected happened. The asteroids opened. From inside them, hidden metal structures appeared. Weapons. Human weapons. Before the alien fleet could react, they fired. Blinding flashes filled the darkness. Explosions ripped through the front lines of the fleet. Ships shattered. Fire spread through space. Shockwaves hit everything. What is this? Varkan roared. Hidden weapons, an officer yelled. The asteroid were a trap. More blasts followed. Entire alien ships were destroyed before they could even fire back. The formation broke. Chaos spread. Back on Earth, General Arya watched the battle. Direct hit, an officer said. Enemy front line is collapsing. Arya nodded slightly. Continue. In space, the aliens try to regroup. Pull back. Varkan shouted. Reform the lines. But it was too late. The damage was done. Almost half of the first wave, gone. Destroyed in minutes. Varkan clenched his fists. Humans, he growled. You planned this. Another officer spoke quickly. Commander, we are detecting more signals. Where? Varkan demanded. Everywhere. And it was true. Small human ships appeared from nowhere. They were fast, silent, hard to track. They moved like shadows. Before the aliens could lock onto them, they attacked. Quick strikes. Precise hits. Then gone again. Guerrilla tactics. One alien whispered in shock. Varkan slammed his fist into the console. Cowards. But deep inside, he knew the truth. This was not cowardice. This was strategy. Back on Earth, Arya gave the next order. Phase 2. On the dark side of the moon, hidden doors opened. Massive structures slowly rose. They were not satellites. They were weapons. Giant railguns pointed toward space. Target locked, an operator said. Fire. A deep vibration filled the base. Then, boom, a massive projectile shot into space at impossible speed. It crossed the distance in seconds and hit. One of the largest alien ships exploded instantly. Varkan stared at the screen. No! More shots followed, each one hitting with deadly precision. More ships destroyed. More chaos. The alien fleet was no longer attacking. They were surviving. Commander! An officer shouted. We are losing too many ships. Varkin's breathing became heavy. This is not possible. He looked at Earth again. That small blue planet. It did not look weak anymore. It looked dangerous. Back on Earth, the command center was still calm. Enemy losses, 47%, an officer reported. Arya crossed her arms. They expected an easy victory, she said. They were wrong. She looked at the screen. Send the message. The room became quiet. A signal was prepared, then transmitted, across space, across the battlefield. Every alien ship received it. Varkin's screen flickered. A human face appeared. Commander Elias. Calm as before. This is Earth, he said. His voice was steady. Clear. You entered our system with weapons. A pause. You made your choice. Another pause. Now his eyes became sharper. Now we make ours. The screen went dark. Silence filled the alien command ship. No one spoke. No one moved. For the first time, fear appeared. Varkon slowly sat down. This is not a primitive species, he whispered. No. Another officer said quietly. This is something else. Outside, the battle continued. Human ships moved like ghosts. Alien ships burned. Explosions lit up the darkness. The first strike was over, and humanity had won. But the war was just beginning. Far away, in the Galactic Council chamber, a message arrived. The battle report. The glowing alien read it. His expression changed. For the first time in centuries, he felt something unfamiliar. Concern. They destroyed half the fleet. One voice said in disbelief. That is impossible. Another spoke, more quietly. We underestimated them. The chamber fell silent. Then the glowing alien spoke. Prepare all forces. His voice was no longer calm. It was serious. Humanity is a threat. Back in space, near Earth, the remaining alien ships slowly pulled back. Not in victory, but in retreat. And as they moved away, human defenses powered down. Waiting, watching, ready. The galaxy was watching. News of the battle spread faster than light. Every system, every species, every hidden world, all of them had heard the same thing. Humans had stopped the Galactic Council. Not just stopped, they had pushed them back. For many, it did not make sense. Humans were new, young, unproven, but now they were something else. Something dangerous. Far from Earth, the remains of the first alien fleet were drifting in space. Broken ships, burning metal, silent wreckage. Commander Varkon stood inside his damaged command ship. The lights flickered around him. Smoke filled the air. He looked at the battlefield. His fleet destroyed, almost half gone, and the rest retreating. His hands tightened slowly. This should not have happened, he said. An officer, injured but still standing, spoke quietly. Commander, we underestimated them. Varkon turned sharply. No, he said coldly. We misunderstood them. There was a difference, and now it was too late. Back on Earth, the mood was different. There was no celebration, no cheering, only silence, because everyone knew the truth. This was only the beginning. In the command center, General Arya Kane stood in front of a large screen. The stars were still, but her eyes were not. Report, she said. Enemy fleet has retreated beyond the outer system. An officer replied. We have temporary control. Arya nodded. Temporary, she repeated. She turned to her team. They will come back. Bigger, stronger, angry. No one disagreed. We don't have much time, she continued. Start phase 3. The room went still for a second. Then one officer asked carefully, Are we really doing this? Arya looked at him. Yes. Deep in space, something was moving again. Not near Earth, not near the asteroid belt. Farther, much farther, hidden in the darkness between stars. Large human ships were waiting. They had been silent for years. Invisible, unknown. Now they were waking up. Lights turned on. Engines started. Weapons charged. This was not Earth's defense. This was something else. Something the galaxy had never seen. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, tension filled the air. The glowing alien stood in the center. This is no longer a simple operation, he said. This is war. Many voices spoke at once. We must send more fleets. We must destroy them completely. They are too dangerous to exist. But one voice spoke differently. A smaller alien, with calm eyes, stood up. What if we are wrong? The chamber became quiet. The glowing alien looked at him. Explain. The smaller alien took a breath. Humans did not attack first, he said. We did. They defended themselves. Murmurs spread again. If we push them further, he continued, we may create something worse. The armored alien from before slammed his hand down. Worse, he growled. They already destroyed our fleet. The smaller alien did not move. Yes, he said, and they did it without leaving their system. That changed the room. Silence returned, because now they understood. If humans were this strong at home, what would they be like out there? Meanwhile, in deep space, Commander Varkin's damaged fleet stopped. Emergency repairs were underway. His ship was barely holding together, but his mind was focused. They will not wait for us, he said quietly. An officer looked confused. Commander? Varkon turned slowly. Humans do not wait, he said. They act. Almost at the same time, alarms exploded across the ship. Unknown signal detected. Multiple contacts. From all directions. Varkin's eyes widened. What? A holographic map appeared. Dots. Hundreds of them. Surrounding the fleet. Silent. Hidden. Waiting. Human ships. Back on Earth. Arya watched the same map. Target locked. An officer said. She gave a single nod. Execute. In space, Varkon shouted, defensive formation. But it was too late. Human ships moved instantly. Fast. Precise. Deadly. They attacked from every angle. Not random. Not chaotic. Perfect coordination. Alien ships tried to fight back, but they could not keep up. Weapons fired. Explosions lit the darkness again. One by one, the remaining fleet was destroyed. Varkon watched in shock. This is impossible. His ship shook violently. Another hit. Systems failing. Crew falling. The officer next to him whispered, Commander, we are surrounded. Varkon slowly sat down. For the first time in his life, he felt defeat. But then something unexpected happened. The attacks stopped. Silence returned. Varkon looked up slowly. Why did they stop, he asked. No one answered. Then a signal appeared. Incoming transmission. Varkon hesitated, then accepted it. The screen lit up. Commander Elias appeared again. Calm, controlled, unchanged. Varkon stared at him. You could have destroyed us, he said. Elias nodded slightly. Yes. Then why didn't you? A pause. Elias looked directly at him. Because we are not like you. The words were simple, but heavy. We defend. Elias continued. We do not destroy without reason. Varkin's expression changed. You call this defense? He asked, looking at the burning ships around him. Elias did not react. You came to erase us, he said. This is a result. Silence. Then Elias added one more line. Leave and do not come back. The transmission ended. On Varkin's ship, no one spoke. They were alive, but they had lost. Completely. Varkon slowly stood up. His pride was gone, replaced by something new. Understanding. Set course, he said quietly. Where, Commander? The officer asked. Varkon looked toward the stars. Home. Back in the council chamber, the second report arrived. This one was worse. Complete fleet loss. No survivors, except a few. Shock filled the room. This cannot continue, one alien said. They are too strong, another whispered. The glowing alien remained silent, thinking, calculating. For the first time, he was unsure. On Earth, the command center was still. Enemy fleet destroyed, an officer said. Arya closed her eyes for a moment. Not relief, not victory, just a short pause. Then she opened them again. They will come back, she said. Yes, another officer replied. But now they are afraid. Arya looked at the stars. Good, she said quietly. Across the galaxy, one truth began to spread. Humans were not the strongest. They were not the biggest. They were not the oldest, but they had something else. Something rare. Something powerful. They adapted. They learned. They fought. And they did not stop. The galaxy was no longer calm. It was shaking. News systems across hundreds of star nations kept repeating the same message again and again. The humans have defeated another fleet. The Council forces are retreating. Unknown human strategy is evolving rapidly. No one was laughing now. No one was underestimating Earth anymore. Now, they were watching carefully, with fear. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, everything felt different. The great hall that once felt powerful now felt heavy. The glowing alien stood in silence. Around him, many council members were arguing. This is a disaster. We lost 2 fleets. They're learning too fast. We should stop this war immediately. But others shouted back. If we stop now, we look weak. Every species will question our power. We cannot retreat. The chamber was breaking. Not physically, but mentally. Their unity was falling apart. The glowing alien raised his hand. Silence returned. Slowly, but not completely. He spoke in a cold voice. This is no longer about Earth, he said. This is about survival of the Council itself. His eyes scanned the room. And we do not survive by running. A deep silence followed. Then he gave the final order. Activate the Dominion fleet. Far away, beyond known space, something moved. Something old. Something forbidden. The Dominion fleet. It was not part of normal Council military. It was larger, heavier, more dangerous. Built for one purpose only. Total annihilation. Entire star systems had been erased by it in the past. And now, it was being awakened again. Back on Earth, General Arya Kane stood in the command center. The atmosphere was different now. Not panic, not fear, but seriousness. Heavy seriousness. A red alert flashed across every screen. An officer spoke quickly. Multiple deep space energy signatures detected. Arya didn't move. Location? She asked. A pause. Then the answer came. Everywhere. That single word changed the room. In space, human fleets were still active, but now they were spread. Smaller units. Fast-moving groups. Not one big army, but many sharp blades. Waiting. Watching. Preparing. Commander Elias appeared in a secure channel. His face was calm as always, but his eyes were sharper now. They are bringing the Dominion fleet, he said. Arya nodded slightly. We expected it. Elias continued. This is their final move. Arya replied. Then we end it. A pause. Elias looked at her. No, he said quietly. This is where it changes. Deep in space, the first signs appeared. The stars began to distort. Space itself bent slightly. Then suddenly, they arrived. Not one fleet, not 10, but thousands of massive ships. The Dominion fleet filled the darkness like a storm. Varkon, now back in a repair station far away, watched the report in silence. His hands tightened. They sent everything, he whispered. An officer beside him said, No one has ever survived a Dominion attack. Varkon didn't answer, because he already knew. This time it was different. The Dominion fleet moved toward Earth. Slow, unstoppable, confident. They believed this would end everything. In one strike. No resistance. No survival. Just silence. But Earth was not silent. Far below the surface. Systems activated. Hidden cities opened. Underground bases lit up like veins of light. On the dark side of the moon, giant structures awakened. And deep in orbit, something new appeared. Humanity's last layer. The Aegis Network. A planet-wide defense system that connected everything. Every ship. Every weapon. Every mind. One coordinated response. General Arya spoke calmly. Begin phase final. An officer hesitated. General, this will reveal everything. Arya turned slightly. That is the point. In space, the Dominion fleet opened fire. Energy beams crossed the darkness. Planets in the system trembled, but Earth did not break. Shields activated. Invisible at first, then visible as glowing barriers around the planet. The attacks hit and stopped, not destroyed. not reflected, just absorbed. The Dominion commanders paused. Impossible, one of them said. Keep firing, another shouted. The barrage increased. Stronger, faster, but Earth still held. Inside the Council observation station, panic started again. They are holding against a Dominion fleet. That cannot be real. Nothing survived that firepower. The glowing alien stood still. For the first time, he looked uncertain. In orbit above Earth, human ships finally moved, but not in large numbers. Just a few, then more, then many. They appeared like ghosts from behind the planet. Silent, coordinated, perfect timing. And then they attacked. But this time it was different. They were not defending. They were pushing forward. Human ships moved directly into the Dominion formation, not avoiding battle. Entering it, explosions filled space. But humans did not stop. They kept moving. Deeper, closer, stronger. Varkon watched the battlefield through a damaged communication link. His voice was quiet. They are not defending anymore. A pause. They are collapsing the formation from inside. The officer looked confused. What does that mean? Varkin's eyes narrowed. It means, he said slowly, they are ending it. In the Dominion fleet, chaos began. Ships could not coordinate. Signals were blocked. Sensors failed. Human interference was everywhere. It was not just attack. It was disruption. Control was breaking. And for the first time, the Dominion fleet was losing structure. Inside her command, Arya watched everything carefully. Then she spoke. Find their command core. A pause. Now. In space, human ships suddenly changed direction. All at once, like they knew exactly where to go. Deep inside the Dominion formation, something massive was hidden. A central command structure. The heart of the fleet. Varkon realized it at the same moment. They are going for the core. But it was too late. Human ships were already moving fast. Back in the council chamber, the glowing alien finally stood up. His voice was low. This is no longer a war. Everyone looked at him. He finished the sentence. This is collapse. In space, human forces reached the Dominion core, a massive structure surrounded by thousands of elite ships, the strongest defense ever created. And still, humans arrived. Arya's voice came through all channels. Fire. A single coordinated attack. Not random. Not chaotic. Perfectly aligned. It hit the core. And everything stopped for a moment. Space went white. Then, the Dominion core exploded. A shock wave spread across the fleet. Ships lost power instantly. Systems shut down. Entire sections of the Dominion fleet went dark. Silence followed. Not peace. Just emptiness. General Arya looked at the screen. Enemy Central Command destroyed. An officer said softly, no celebration, only silence, because everyone knew this was not the end, just the breaking point. In the council chamber, the glowing alien slowly closed his eyes. Then he spoke. We have lost control of the war. A long pause. And possibly the galaxy. Far away, in space, human ships stopped. They did not chase. They did not